top 10 running back lists. We like to do these a lot.
So are we gonna do one and then go down the line? Who else is the
Let's
number
go one person at a time.
I think we should do top 3 first because I think it's going to be the same guys, maybe just different orders, except maybe Tristan.
I know. At least compared to Sam's list, I have 2 different guys in my top 3.
Okay, so let's just. Who wants to start? I won't start because I talked first.
Everyone's number 1. I want to start with Sam. I know his number 1.
Okay, number 1 got King Henry.
I agree.
So do I.
Probably the best one.
Does everybody have
either number 1 or number 2 rusher in the league?
Is he not your number 1?
Is he everyone's number 1?
He's in my 3.
He has CMC
Okay, name
1.
off
You
your
have
top
CMC
3.
at 1?
Name off your top 3.
No. We're going by 1. What's your 1?
CMC.
1 by 1.
That's fair.
That's a very fair argument. I think
I
it's
get that.
whoever you like more.
Okay.
They're both good.
Number 2, I got Alvin Kamara.
You're wrong.
Dude, Sam.
No.
I'm messing with your list, bro.
Simply you're wrong. You're wrong too. Y'all
Simply
are both
he's
right.
right.
Alvin Kamara number 2, based off what? The 6
Over
touchdown game. That's
McCaffrey, I
it.
think is correct.
And the
Not
receiving.
just off that, he's a receiving back. He's a receiving back that can also run the ball clearly.
So 4th most yards on the year with the 2nd most touchdowns.
He wasn't
He's
injured.
top 2.
That
Okay.
sounds pretty good to me. I mean,
All right, so
Okay.
He wasn't injured.
I mean, obviously, Kamara had a better
He
year.
can
than
play a full
McCaffrey,
season.
but that's-
I know we're talking
Half.
about. I know we're talking about this year, but C-Mac is.
We're talking about
had
who
a
do you
1,000
want
yard
on
both
your team?
sides of the
Who do you
ball.
want on your
Who do you
team?
want
I
on
would
your team
rather
to
have
take
McCaffrey
the ability
on my
to play
team
a full
than Kamara.
the ability to play a full season to me means a lot.
He misses one.
Yeah,
C-Mac
it's
misses
not like
one
this is a
season, he's not
recurring
top
issue
2
for
anymore.
McCaffrey.
CMC's still on my list, obviously.
I said not
Yeah.
top 2.
He's number
Is he-
3 for me.
Is he number 3
He's
for
2
you?
for me.
They're very close.
He's not number
Wow,
3
I
for
just
me.
saw yours.
Nick
Okay.
Chubb, number 3.
I think that's respectable. He's my number 3 too, but Alvin Kamara should not be number 2.
But he is.
He's usually number 4.
My number 4 is Dalvin Cook. And number 5, CMC.
Switch Alvin Kamara and CMC, and I
put this
completely
in
love your list.
perspective. I have Dalvin Cook number 2. Whatever. I can't speak right now. But my number 2 is Dalvin
number
Cook.
2?
Yes, because
I mean,
I have Henry 3 because Henry's not much of a pass catcher. And if you watch it, he got shut down by the Ravens. Is that not the reason the Titans lost?
That is the exact reason the Titans lost.
Okay. So I still think he's amazing.
We're
He's
gonna
great.
take away the first 2,000-yard season since AJ Peterson.
I love him. I think he's great. But he's number 3.
I think the top
I think
4
that's
are all
bold
pretty
to
close.
say.
I mean, I don't
That
have
is
Chubb
bold,
in there,
but-
but I think for me, Henry, McCaffrey, Cook, and Kamara are all pretty close to each other. I have Henry, McCaffrey, Cook, then Kamara. But I think all 4 of those are pretty close.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I have Kamara 4. So
I think your top 5 has to be Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, and Nick Chubb in some order.
we can't speak today. But
None of us can talk right now.
Okay, so
we're all
let's
having issues.
So y'all also do top 5?
Let me tell you my
Technical
top 3.
issues.
That's
because
my top 5. I have
basically
Chubb
everybody
5.
said their top 3, so let me go ahead. I got Derrick Henry 1, C-Mac 2, and Nick Chubb 3. I think, honestly,
high.
like...
My God!
You were insanely high on Nick Chubb.
No.
Both of you are.
That's not high, though. Listen, let me explain.
Why are you...
I'm not even looking at his receiving stats. If we only look at Nick Chubb's running stats, he has 1,000 yards, and he missed 6 games.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
And he shares with Kareem
And he
Hunt.
shares with Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like
I love
Nick
Chubb.
Chubb. I'm not super high on Nick Chubb, but
If
you
he
gotta
played,
respect
if he
that
played
man.
a full season,
He was
as
on
an
pace to get,
undisputable
like-
number 1.
He was on pace to do something crazy.
That's why that's a good
I mean,
argument. You can make that argument.
He's
for
still
Nick
got
Chubb.
a ton of carries, though. I mean, not as much as like
I mean,
Henry
he
or
was still a
Cook,
majority
but
carries.
just about
He
just
did
about as much
majority,
as
but he missed 6
anyone
games
else.
is my thing.
Not like those two, but about as much as everyone else.
He was basically averaging 120, 110 yards.
He had the most yards per carry.
That's
I wouldn't
good.
say
He did have
it's
the
in
most
there.
yards.
He had the
I
most
wouldn't
yards
say
per
that.
carry.
That's
That's a very important stat
fair.
for a
Like,
running back.
I'm putting Nick Chubb.
That's fair.
at
Although
number
I also,
3.
running back.
I also think the Browns have the best line in the league, and I think that's
That is-
part of
they
why.
do.
Are you saying best
Chubb is-
running?
Remember when
They have the best run block O line.
Remember when
Overall,
Zeke,
I
remember when
think
Zeke had the best line for
Pack
years,
when healthy.
and he had such a
Yeah,
big
that's
season,
O-line
and
overall.
look what happened this season.
The only reason the
now we're
Bucs got to Aaron Rodgers so much is
No,
because
that
Bakhtiari
was
was
the
out.
exact opposite argument. I think.
Even then, though, they got
I mean,
to
I
the
still have
playoffs.
him in my top 5. I don't think he's bad or anything. I just
Wait till you
think
hear
that the
Tristan's
line
number
was
6.
Once you hear Collins
I
number
mean,
7,
y'all
that's
know
why
I'm
I
a
was
Cowboys
tripping.
fan. I'm pretty sure you're
That's why I was tripping
over
over here
is
because
gonna
I
be.
So my
took
number-
a glance at Collins' list and I couldn't believe
I'm not
what I
cool.
saw.
Yeah,
Columns
you know that.
on 3. So yeah, y'all say 4 and 5.
All right, so I'll start with my 4 and 5. So after Nick Chubb, I have Dalvin Cook. I think he's a great guy. He missed a lot of games
Yeah.
too, and he still performed, especially in a
He
very.
didn't miss a
He only
ton.
missed 1 or 2.
It's my 4.
He didn't miss a lot. Okay, still, but
I mean, he has
missed
had some
games.
injury
missed
problems
2.
throughout
He
his
missed
career.
games and still was top 3 or 4 in rushing.
I don't think he's
which is
played a
very
full
impressive.
season yet.
Yeah, he
But,
hasn't. But and then my number 5 is Aaron Jones. I know a lot of people don't like him.
That's really high.
Oh
That's
my!
fine. Let me explain.
I don't like him.
Where's
He's not even on my list.
He's on mine.
Who do you think
Not
I said was
mine.
number 7?
I was like,
I'm talking about John.
Here's my thing. The reason he's number 5 isn't because he's number 5. It's because I think 5, 6, and 7 are interchangeable on my list.
Okay.
I think because my number. Okay, let me explain my 5, 6, 7. My 5, 6, 7 is Alvin Kamara.
At 7. He's 7.
He's only 5, 6. Okay, I literally just said that they were only.
He's
on
7
there for
on your
6.
phone.
They're all tied for 5th. I think they could all be 5. The problem is.
he should be higher.
Okay, 5. I am not high on Alvin Kamara. You'll know that. Okay, 5, 6, and 7 are Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, and Alvin Kamara. I think they're both very close. Saquon Barkley's hard to say, but he's still respectable.
I just want people to know he did call Alvin Kamara a receiver. If you haven't
He's
seen
a
that video,
receiving back.
I'll put it in the description with the link. Go watch it
He's a receiving
and see
back.
how. No, you called him a receiver.
You called him a
didn't call
wide
him
receiver.
That was for
receiving
the sake
back.
of saying he was a receiver, but he's a receiver.
You said that many
receiving
times. You've
back.
been saying that for like a month.
It's
Called him
on
a
record.
straight-up wide
Go
receiver.
watch it.
That's
The link will be in the description.
exaggeration.
I'm gonna say my 4 and 5. It's
Okay.
I have Kamara at 4, and
Okay.
you convinced me with Chubb with the stats. You talked about putting him at 5 over Saquon.
He's respectable. He's respectable for a top 5 running back.
Because I mean, Saquon was out for the year with the torn ACL. We don't know how he's gonna come back.
No idea.
I love Saquon.
And he played
so-
bad.
He didn't play.
They have no O-line, man. They have
Yeah.
Neither
no.
does Joe Mixon, but we keep talking about how bad Joe Mixon is.
Saquon was better.
You can't judge him off
Saquon was
one
definitely
game,
better.
and then he got hurt the next game. Like it's
Saquon.
kind of it's a small.
Y'all
sample
judge
size.
Joe Mixon off the
Joe
3
Mixon-
back.
Hold on. Here's the difference.
He
Joe
played
They weren't
every
even
game.
bad.
Hey, Joe Mixon's first game was not against a good defense. You know who Saquon Barkley played his first game?
Was it
The
Pittsburgh?
Steelers.
Yeah, it was
They have one of the best run defenses in the league. I don't care about their strength of opponent. They're one of the best run defenses.
And that was before they
That
lost
is
Devin Bush.
that is a
too.
very hard team to face, especially
It's a really
week
tough
1.
team.
Okay, well, my
Pretty
number
sure they played the Ravens.
my number 6 is
I don't
Saquon
know.
Barkley because it's so hard to deny. Like after
Even if it was the Ravens.
My
amazing
six.
season he had last year. Number 7, I have Aaron Jones. I
my
like
7.
Aaron Jones.
Damn, Sam, I messed with your list, man.
Number 8,
You're not
I have
gonna
James
have
Robinson. I think he had a really good season.
Thanks, Sam. We got some. I said 8.
Wait, you had James Robinson at 8?
I have him at 8.
I have it 9.
Dude, Sam!
Do we
let's
all
go!
Are we the same
Except for
somewhere?
Shea, we all have-
Not the exact same,
But,
because
like,
I had
doesn't
Chubb
have
lower
an
than
eight. He's
you.
at
I had
nine.
Chubb
Wait,
at
wait,
5,
wait.
but like close.
Okay,
and
hold
I
on.
agreed with your Chubb.
Let's
take.
take a minute, Tristan. Just read your whole list all the way through.
Okay.
I want to hear your list all the way
hear
through.
this before we
Start at 1.
Okay, start at 1 is Henry, then McCaffrey, then Cook, then Kamara, then Chubb, then Zeke,
Oh,
then Saquon, then Aaron Jones, then Robinson, then Eckler.
Okay.
say that last part again. Zeke and then
Zeke,
Saquon.
and then Saquon, Aaron Jones,
Zeke's better than
Robinson,
Saquon?
and Eckler. Yes, I do.
There's an argument there.
No, there's not.
But Zeke,
Yes,
this
there
year,
is. There is
Saquon was
100%
definitely
an argument
No,
there.
there is. There definitely is. But
Yeah.
the problem is this year he
Put Saquon and Zeke's line a couple years ago.
he
but
lost.
that's all I gotta
They
say.
lost Dak, and Zeke all of a sudden became meh.
They
He
didn't
became
just lose
average.
Dak, though. They lost the O-line.
Part
But
of it-
losing both
Saquon
of those
has
things.
Daniel
hurt.
Jones
Yeah,
in that
Saquon never had a
bum
quarterback
O-line.
who had to
Saquon's better.
lose.
Here's
Yeah,
the
and
difference.
He's flipping
last
back.
year
Here's
he
the
wasn't
difference.
great.
Like you know how we talked about how you flip Allen and Mahomes in that situation. You put any running back in the situation Zeke had 2 years ago.
That's what I'm saying.
Any running
It's
back?
GG's.
Oh, okay.
Any running back. I'm dead
I thought you were
serious.
gonna say this season. I was
No.
like, are you kidding
But-
me?
No,
So that's
any,
not
two,
fair.
that line 2 years ago, you put any running back.
So
Well, you could
Shoot,
say
you put Keith Jackson behind that O line. He's rushing for something.
So here's the thing, though. I put James Robinson over Zeke just simply based off of this year because the Giants.
Is James
don't have-
Robinson on?
They
Is
don't have-
Zeke
He's
on
8.
your?
Yeah, he's 8. He's
Zeke
over
is
Zeke.
8.
No, Robinson's
Wait,
8.
and
No,
Zeke is 9?
Zeke's on your
He's
top
not.
10.
Zeke's 9.
He's not on my top 10.
He's
But
not.
the
Is
reason
he
I
on
have
your
him
top
over
10?
Zeke is because
So we're the
That's
only
an Ohio
ones that
State
have
fan.
top 10.
Robinson has no
Wow.
O-line either. Has no O-line either.
But
My-
he's also a
okay,
receiver back.
I think this past
But he's
year,
down- he's also-
Let's
he's
talk.
pretty
Let's
bad.
look at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
running backs on
I'd
this
say
list
pretty
that
bad.
don't have an O line. Saquon Barkley, Joe Mixon, Ezekiel Elliott, James Robinson.
Joe Mixon has Joe Burrow now.
Those are all the teams that
But
don't
if you're talking about
truly
the
have
line-
O lines.
Jacksonville's line wasn't horrible. Like
They
out
were
of the
pretty
out of
bad.
the ones out of the guys you just said, Robinson
James-
probably had the best line out of those
Yeah,
guys.
I agree.
Chargers is average.
I don't have Eckler on my
I have
list, so I didn't
Eckler
say
on mine.
Eckler, but
I have Eckler. at
Eckler's
10.
is average, but
Eckler's
like
Yeah, it's
My
better.
opinion,
I'm talking about bottom of the league. Those are the bottom leagues in the line.
You're not going to like my 9 and 10.
Who are you 9 and 10?
And then I got Kareem Hunt.
Okay.
Kareem,
That's fair.
Kareem
I don't
Punt.
hate it.
He's
I
top
have
15.
I
for
don't
me.
hate it.
I have one that you.
I thought you said I would hate it.
think
That's not
it's
that bad.
Number
He's
10
not on mine.
And number 10, I have Josh
I
Jacobs.
think
That's my 10.
That's my 7.
He didn't make mine.
Really? He's above James Robinson for me. So a pure running back. I think he is
He had a bad year.
I
He
think
did not
he's
have a
like
great year.
I want to say like baby
He
version
played the
of
whole
like
year.
I think he's a smaller version of Derrick Henry. That's what I think. If you've watched
Doesn't
him
get the
play, he's
production
insane.
like it.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
okay.
Guess what? That's a good
So
line.
I don't know if you. I want you to look at stats though. And if you look at stats, great, cool. He looks worse. But if you look at the way John Gruden runs his offense, he's taking him out and like resting him. So a lot of that's the whole reason the Ravens running backs were something to avoid in fantasy this year is because the Ravens took people and rested people and like were mixing them around so that they would have running backs in the playoffs.
I think J.K. Dobbins is now.
And I
the
think the
number one.
Raiders,
Yeah.
He's
the
now the
Raiders were
clear-cut
doing the
number
same
one.
thing where they held Jacobs so they could use him in the playoffs because they were going to make the playoffs for a while. They didn't make the playoffs, but they
Yeah,
were
it
trying to
looked like
keep
they were
him
gonna make it at
healthy,
first.
which is an issue with running backs if you look at it near the end of the year.
I don't know. I mean,
I think
because
he did
that's
get
I don't
touches
need them
though.
the
It
most.
wasn't like
You know how they
He
beat
wasn't
the
getting-
Chiefs though?
he wasn't getting
Josh
like
Jacobs.
Derrick
Josh
Henry
Jacobs had a
Dalvin Cook
huge
touches.
game against the Chiefs.
hold on. I
That's
think,
how they beat him.
Hold on. So I think
They use him when they need to.
unless you have like something saying that they could also be like preserving him to be longer. Running backs don't last that long, and if you do that, they're gonna last a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
then you probably won't be successful because you need to mix
not
it
gonna do
up.
what they need.
Unless
He
you're, unless you're,
didn't technically. Did
Devontae
he get
Booker was doing
injured?
great. No, he didn't.
no,
had
he never got
Devontae
injured.
Booker was so.
He had the
Oh no,
questionable
he had
weeks,
yeah.
But like it wasn't actual injuries.
I know.
Devontae Booker
Nothing
came in and did
major.
amazing too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is if you can like
He's a
put
good back.
different guys in there. Honestly, I don't know why. Like,
Back
I
is
know
good.
not anyone in the NFL can just be good at certain positions, especially running back. But I think if
Well, no, running
I
back-
think
Running
teams-
back is the most
hold
replaceable.
on, this is going to be
position.
kind of controversial. I think teams should honestly look into like getting random guys that are good and putting them in because
In-
nobody has film on them
in-
and they can't do anything.
In my
you saying
opinion,
like
the
quarterback?
two most replaceable.
No, same running back.
In my
Right.
opinion, the two most replaceable positions in football that aren't like special teams in those weird positions, like we're talking the 22 guys on offense and
Yeah.
defense,
Yeah.
is running back and wide receiver.
I agree.
I see
That's
a
fair.
new star wide receiver,
That's
new
fair.
star running back every year.
and
you don't
like, think
see
about
that.
this.
I think
Think
running
about-
back is more replaceable than
No,
receiver, bro.
running
I
back-
think
Yes, running back's
Hundred
more,
percent.
more replaceable.
but those are the
You
two.
don't think so?
100%.
No, yeah, I agree.
That's
Running back's more
100%
replaceable.
Let me add to this argument. The Jets picked up some dude named Ty Johnson, I think. I don't think that was his name. It's something like that.
He was-
I have
That's
no
different.
clue who that was.
Yeah.
He didn't even have a picture
played
in
well.
fantasy football. That's how unknown this dude was. He ran for 143 yards
Yeah.
against like
And that's a bad Jets O line.
it's a horrible
Are we going to talk about how
against a horrible team.
the Rams picked up an account and won a playoff game at quarterback?
Okay, that's a little different.
Different subject.
I mean, like,
yeah.
He didn't even play that
Yeah,
playoff
he
game.
barely.
Oh no,
played.
he won. He still won the game before the.
That's
the
because
game.
Yeah.
Kyler got hurt in the first two snaps of the offensive possession.
Okay,
So
an
it was
accountant
backup versus
an
backup.
accountant versus a backup quarterback.
I think the Cardinals' backup is worse than the accountant.
But he was the actual bad.
I'm just saying they found an accountant and he turns out to be better than most backup.
I mean, he
quarterbacks.
wasn't just some like
He
he,
was-
played.
I mean, he
before.
played in college and he played in the AAF.
Yeah.
And then
you
they
can
picked
say
him
that.
up.
You can say that about almost any back.
Johnny Manziel played in the
quarterback.
AAF. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Wasn't that the guy that
Johnny
started
Manziel
over
can't
Johnny
make an
Manziel?
NFL roster.
Hey man,
I mean,
that-
at this point,
Hey, the fan favorite league,
The
Johnny
fan control
Manziel.
league,
Yeah, the
bro.
fan control
Oh.
league. Johnny Manziel gonna show out. Then he gonna make an NFL.
All right, can I talk about my 9 and 10?
Yeah,
Sure,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Number 9, Joe Mixon. Hear me out before we start.
I
Of
think
course.
yeah, there's an argument.
Hear me out before we
There's not
start.
an argument.
There really is.
Not
you,
this
just,
year.
you just annoy me with how far you push this. But continue.
I have to push it because of how bad. When I talked to him, he didn't even have him in his top 20. When I talked to
Okay,
him.
that was a little bit of a joke.
That's an
I was
exaggeration.
putting like J.K. Dobbins above him and he's splitting the three backs. Which next year I think J.K. Dobbins will be better if he's the one that's
yeah.
with the running back.
No,
one.
he
The-
won't.
if he's
I think
the running
Dobbins is
back
going to be
one,
great next year.
yeah, because they dropped Mark Ingram.
They dropped Mark Ingram. It's literally just J.K.
care.
Yes, they
They
did.
dropped Mark Ingram.
They released
They
him
did.
with
I don't
Tremont
care.
I think we could be talking about Dobbins next year in this conversation. Like I wouldn't be surprised.
I
if he ends up
guarantee
being a top
J.K.
10.
Dobbins.
Let me
is a top 10 next
let me
year.
That makes me
explain.
excited.
Let me explain
Yeah.
to some of the people on this table that think that that's not a good.
I don't
He
think
would have been
it's
top
insane.
7 on my list last year.
Who? Joe Mixon?
Definitely, he was top 5 in rushing on a
No,
terrible
no,
Bengals
that's
team.
last year, but
Last
this
year,
isn't
he would have
last
been
year.
on my top 10.
Then why is Saquon on all our lists?
Because he didn't play at all. We saw Joe Mixon and he wasn't good.
Saquon did play.
He
And
played
played terrible.
one.
Played
There's a
eight.
difference.
Okay,
No,
I have
no, no, no,
I have
wait,
a
wait,
quick
wait,
I have
wait,
a
wait,
quick
wait,
I have a
wait,
quick
wait.
little anecdote of when me and Sam were in the car. Me and Sam were talking after 2 games of Saquon,
One
and
game.
he's like,
It was before he got hurt. He only played one.
He only
game.
played
He
one.
only played
one and a half,
One and a
sorry.
half.
Not
Okay,
even.
so we're after that one game, and Sam was like, "Man, Saquon was terrible. That Giants O-line is terrible." And I'm like, "Dude, because Joe Mixon has it bad too." Because Joe Mixon had a bad game, and I was like, "Cause of that O-line." Like we were both in the same boat.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Joe Mixon didn't play the Steelers.
just looking
Not
at
that
that, he had his best games against the better run defenses. His best games were against Indianapolis.
His
That was probably when
game,
Joe
Baltimore.
Burrow was also playing
He had
good.
one
He also had.
crazy game.
That was probably
only-
when Joe Burrow was playing
He
good.
only had one good game. Like,
Yeah.
okay, let me take that back. He had one elite game where if he did that,
That
a
was
lot,
okay. That was like
It was a great
that was
game.
a
that's
crazy
different.
And then
Joe-
no,
and
but
then-
everything else wasn't like there was like maybe one
he
other
had-
game that was
answer
good.
me
He had
this.
some
Who's
solid
playing
games. He
better?
didn't have
No,
anything
he didn't have
a
else
solid
good
game.
enough
He had
to make
one.
him get
Joe
him.
Mixon.
Who's better, Dan
Mixon.
Jones or Joe Burrow? Who played better this year?
Who? Joe Burrow.
Okay. Having a better quarterback helps a
Yes.
lot.
You saw that with Zeke.
Yes, you did. Once he was fine.
But
once
Joe
Dak
Burrow
got
didn't
hurt,
get
even without,
set.
even with those O-line
Joe
injuries.
Mixon got better when Joe Burrow got better. You can see that.
Yeah.
in
That's
the
what we're
stats.
saying.
That's what we're saying.
So y'all are holding those bad games when Joe Burrow wasn't set yet
No,
against
I'm
Joe
not. I'm
Mixon.
saying the bad
He
games
is.
The bad games when they had Joe Burrow because they had he only
But
had one
the
good game with
difference
Joe
is the difference is Joe Burrow wasn't
three
playing
games with
bad.
Joe Burrow.
Like,
He had
Burrow. Average and then
Hear
one
me out,
crazy.
hear me out.
He had a 15 carries, 60 yards, but he had a touchdown.
That's a good game?
And then
That's
he had
average.
40 receiving yards. He had 100 total
That's
all-purpose
average.
yards. and
That's
he had a
average.
touchdown.
That's average.
That is not average.
That's
that is
average
not
in the
top
NFL.
10. That's
It's
not
not-
that's
that's
not
average.
top
It's not
10
elite.
this year. This year that is not
That's
top
not
10.
an elite game, dude.
There are
Every
a lot
single
of
one of these guys
who
in
are
this
doing
list have
that.
done this. Except for Saquon last year because he only had one game.
I'm
Every
looking
single
at
one of these
guys
did
on
this.
Tristan's list that had
Okay, Tristan's a
bad
little
games.
special.
Aaron Jones, Zeke. Guys that have worse games than that. Much worse games than that.
But I'm
Austin Eckler.
They also
You're
had more
saying
than-
those
he didn't
games.
perform
These
that
guys
well.
also. We're
had
not
more
saying
than
they're
one
bad
great
games. We're
game.
saying those are just good games, and you're counting them. You're
Those-
saying they're
yeah,
good.
Not
and
as
they're
good as
average.
that. Who had the highest high of all those guys?
Henry.
Joe Mixon. No, I'm talking about the guys I named, including Joe Mixon. Who had the highest high?
He had the one game, and then he didn't do. He didn't have another great game outside of
Because
that.
Joe Mixon's also one of those guys like we talked
it's
about
not
with
high.
Josh Jacobs. They have Bernard and Pirine.
Jacobs, I'm pretty sure.
And they
Jacobs
put
is pretty close.
Bernard is the receiving back. It's like Naeem Hines and Jonathan
Elker,
Taylor.
if he played
It's
defense,
Naeem.
but
Yes,
he played
okay,
close
it's
to
not
that. He
as
played
severe,
average
but
of
it's
like
like
30, 20
that.
points a game.
And when Colin
And
talked to
fantasy.
me about that, he was like, when Bernard played as a number one, and I was like,
Aaron Jones.
yeah.
Oh,
When
someone
Naeem
else.
Hines played as a number one, and it was just. But that's fantasy too. That's fantasy football.
Okay, but fantasy.
You look. You
It's kind of their
also
overall play.
you also look at when Joe Burrow played his best football when Joe Mixon was on the field because teams had to game plan for Joe
Hold on.
Mixon and it
Joe
opened
Mixon
the
never
field for
left
Joe
the
Burrow.
field.
Joe Burrow played his best because he got hurt.
Yeah, you had no chance.
You had no chance to play without him, really. You only saw like how many games he played without Joe
No,
Mixon.
It was, I think it
Joe
was-
Joe Mixon was out at
Not a
week
lot.
6. He played like 4 weeks after and he didn't play as well. He played his best weeks of football those weeks 4 through 6.
I just want
He
to see what
did.
teams they played after that.
I'm like 99% sure that you're wrong. Because he was playing like an absolute beast. I was seeing him all over my
Joe
Instagram
Burrow
feed.
only played
when,
well until
but
he
right
got hurt.
before the injury. Like
He's
he was
playing
playing his
well.
best. Because I remember I kept seeing that. Y'all know that video of him where he like dives into the freaking like first down, and the ref's like, you know, you got to slide, right?
Okay.
It's like, yeah, I'm still trying to learn how to do that. That was when he was in his best play this year, and that was towards the end of the year.
His best games were against we're talking yards.
Division rivals.
Were against week 2, week 3, week 4, week 6, week 7. So the only
That's Mixon's games, right?
yes, all of those were
So
Mixon
those are
games.
all
Okay, but this is different though. If you look at this, his last decent game, I mean, I'm not gonna say great, was against Tennessee. That's an okay defense.
horrible. No, their defense is horrible.
Okay, it's horrible, but
He had
still.
250
Yeah.
But
yards
hold
and
on,
2
hold on.
touchdowns.
Hold on, you look
without
at
Joe Mixon.
You look at the next 2 games.
not bad.
Pittsburgh and
No.
Washington,
And then he
Two
got
great
injured in the
defenses.
Washington game.
and he got injured in
Those are
Washington.
really good.
Those are
But he,
crazy.
he played well against Indy.
Indy's
Yeah,
a solid
Indies
defense.
is
Indy's a
weird
great
defense.
defense.
They're a weird
Yeah.
defense in my
But
opinion.
at the time he played Indy,
No,
Indy was the best defense in the
Indy-
league.
Indy's
At the time.
weird.
That was
Like unlike
They
Washington,
were better
or
in the
Steelers
first
and
half
stuff
than
like
they
that,
were in the second.
Their defense would randomly let stuff. Like I don't know what was going on.
I don't
there.
know, yeah.
all I'm
They-
saying
they
is
were- they were bend,
all
don't break.
all I'm
They let
saying
yards
is
happen, they
if
wouldn't score.
Saquon doesn't fall from your list, then Mixon shouldn't fall.
Here,
I think Mixon was never on.
Mixon was borderline.
Mixon
for me
wouldn't have been
anyway.
on your list last year.
I really didn't pay much attention last year. I'm not gonna lie. So I
If
wouldn't.
Robinson
Saquon was
around,
top 5 for me last
if
year. Now he's
Robinson was
7.
around,
Like Mixon
and
was
Cook
like
wasn't
9 or
injured last
10.
year,
Now he's off.
He wouldn't be. If Robinson was around last year
Mixon
and
would
Cook wasn't injured last year, he wouldn't be.
Mixon would be 10 because
At best.
I would have Zeke last year over Mixon.
Because Zeke would have been up there.
Zeke showed me this year that he needs
Elker played
the
really well
supporting.
last year.
Zeke isn't on my top 10 because Zeke showed me this year that he needs so much
Elker played well
support
last year,
to
to be honest.
succeed.
Who doesn't? Who isn't gonna?
When he
Who's
has
Joe Burrow? I mean, no, Joe Mixon.
Does Joe Mixon have a bunch of rookies?
Yes, and he had Andy Dalton last year as his quarterback. He had the exact same situation
They
last
didn't have
year.
a bunch of rookies. This is like the LeBron
Yeah.
argument. You go and make an argument, and then I look up the stats, and it's completely wrong.
T. Higgins
I think-
and Joe Burrow are the only rookies I know of on that team.
Exactly.
That's this year. I'm talking about last
You
year
said
when
they had a
Joe
bunch of
Mixon
rookie
had his.
offensive linemen.
I'm talking about last year when
I don't know
Joe
enough.
Mixon.
I don't know what.
I
off the top of my
don't know
head.
that specifically, but
So
I'll look
don't
that up
say
after
that.
this.
I'm looking at up.
But it's a bad
Then
offensive
if-
line.
It's
I
a
don't
bad
care.
offensive
It's not
rookies
good.
don't
Hold on,
say
hold on.
anything.
Let me explain something.
Why did Tony Pollard succeed
Let
more
me-
than Zeke with that same offensive line? And Andy Dalton.
He had one good game. That means
Yeah, he
absolutely
wasn't-
nothing. They have no film on that guy.
Yeah.
But the
When
that
it's
was
ta- well,
that
it's-
was
no, no,
Film
and
doesn't
in
matter
the
with a
game-
running back.
that was the Cowboys'
If you've
best.
never
a little
seen
bit.
it,
It's
if
not
you've
a
never
huge
seen a
thing.
running back.
That was the Cowboys'
got a
best
different
statistical
style.
game. Like that was Andy Dalton's best throwing game was
Warner,
when Zeke didn't play.
If you're a skill running back, film matters. If you're like Derrick Henry, then no, it doesn't. But if you're a guy
Depends
like
on the running back.
I do agree, and Tony Pollard is one of those guys.
Let's just
He's a
let's
crafty
just,
dude.
let's just look at it in perspective of what Zeke had this year to what Joe Mixon had last year. Both
It
had
was worse.
terrible defenses.
Hold on.
No. Let's talk about it. Both had Andy Dalton. They literally
They
both, had Andy
Andy
Dalton.
Dalton. Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
They both had bad. Okay, Zeke had a worse offensive line.
Yes.
but
Yes, he definitely.
it was a bad offensive line in Cincinnati as well.
So here's the difference. Is
Both had good wide receivers.
nope,
No.
Nope. AJ Green was injured. He's been gone.
Oh, so they had worse wide receivers.
That's the whole point, though.
They did.
Because the only
The
thing they
Bengals
had
did
was
have
Joe
worse.
Mixon. So what are they
So
going
why
to
aren't they stacking the
Give
box?
Joe Mixon the ball.
No, then they're stacking the box. Why aren't they? They were stacking the box.
They had worse receivers than Dallas had this year, but
Yes.
they didn't have bad
Then
receivers.
why aren't they stacking the box? Colin's argument was Zeke's playing
They
back is
passed
not only is the offensive line bad, but they're stacking the box. Imagine what they did to Joe Mixon last year. I didn't watch the
Zeke's
Bengals like
better
that
than
last
Joe
year because they
Mixon.
were
I didn't
terrible.
either. Yeah.
Better than
Okay,
Joe
but then if you didn't
When you're
watch
playing the
stack
Bengals, you're not
box.
going to stack the box. You're
But
playing
if
the
they have
Bengals.
Joe Mixon, you're stacking the box, and they have
I'm
Andy
telling
Dalton
you, no,
and those
he's
bad
not
receivers.
that guy.
They weren't
So
bad
they
receivers.
played
He
from
was that
behind
guy last
because
year.
they played from behind.
He was a top 5
They played
rusher
from
last
behind.
year.
You don't
They were
stack the
losing,
box
yeah.
when
They
you're
were losing
up.
You don't
20.
stack. Yeah, you don't stack the box if you're
Don't.
up 21 to 3.
You just let them run the 5 yard.
You let them run the ball and let
because
them
if they run
run
5
the
yards
ball.
every
Take
play,
time off
it
the
takes
clock.
time off the
And
clock.
keep your
So you
offense
want
up.
them
The
to run.
Cowboys were losing,
You want them to run
and
5
they were
yards
still
every
stacking
play.
the box.
They were also playing in one of the probably not
Worst
one,
division.
the worst
There was-
division in
that
football.
division was competitive.
The worst division in the last few years.
The worst division like I've
The games were
ever
competitive.
seen.
Yeah, maybe that
Teams
NFC
just
South
sucked.
that 1 year.
Yeah.
That 1 year.
But
maybe.
the point
That's
is,
the only thing that comes close.
Can I add
It was
to this?
bad.
Can I add to this? Another part that I think the reason that the Cowboys' offensive line was so much worse than Cincinnati's with Joe Mixon last year is because offensive linemen and like that whole line depends on cohesion and working well together. Like if you look at Texas A&M, I know you don't like them. They have 5 O linemen who are ridiculously good.
Been playing together.
But it's because they've been playing together since they were freshmen, except the one guy who's a sophomore. They're ridiculous. Is one of them getting drafted in the first round?
No.
No. Is one of them getting drafted in the second round?
No.
Maybe.
Probably not.
Probably
I
not.
didn't
Is one
see-
getting drafted?
But they
in
were
the
the
third?
they were
Is one getting-
statistically like the best.
They were
They gave up 2
statistically
sacks before the bowl game. 2 sacks the whole season.
That is
Or 4,
insane.
2 or 4.
In
They
the
gave up 2 in the
SEC.
Alabama game and 4 total in a all SEC
In
game.
the SEC, dude.
All
Like,
SEC conference.
I think like it's
all SEC
about
schedule.
it's about working well
Still,
together.
the SEC was not
That's
good
the
this
thing.
year.
Like with
outside of
Dallas, their line
was a bad
changed
SEC
so
year.
much that like
Ole Miss
they
beat
couldn't
number
get that.
11 ranked Indiana in the bowl game, and they weren't even ranked out of the SEC.
Indiana was missing their star quarterback who got injured the last game of the year, but that's okay.
Ole
We're
Miss
not
was-
getting into college
Hold
football.
on. Let me finish my thought.
Ole Miss
So
was
another
like-
thing is, so you already have a bunch of rookies in the like on the line. You had 2 injuries that ended for the season. One that was like lingering and came in and out, and then a guy retired. Okay, so you're missing the entire O line.
I'm telling you, Zeke
Hold
had
on,
a bad
hold on.
situation.
Let me-
but Joe Mixon had a
I'm
bad
trying
one
to compare.
too.
Let me finish my thought so I can tell
and
you
he
what I'm trying to
produced
compare.
more.
Let me tell you what I'm trying to compare. The other difference is that guy who had a lingering injury kept going in and out of the O line. That messes with the O line 1. 2, Andy Dalton came in the middle of the season. It's not like I'm not gonna lie. Andy Dalton he's okay.
Yeah.
He's not good. But the thing
he's not
about
gonna
Andy
win
Dalton
you
with the Bengals is Andy Dalton was with the Bengals for like what 6 years.
What's
There's
that?
a
Wait,
reason
wait,
they
wait.
let him go to
No,
trade.
I know.
They
She's
were
not
the
bad.
worst
Okay.
team in the
I'm just-
league.
Okay, you too.
I heard something. It's time for our next segment.
There we go. I'm okay with that. I just wanted
Next segment? Okay.
Next
The
segment.
producers are telling us to, keep going. We don't have producers.
Yeah,
I mean,
Producers?
we are the producers.
We are the